So I've decided to make this into a side video, just a very quick one, because I know people tend to come to this channel for a very quick summary. So a quicker summary of chapter 2 is, it starts out as a discussion of concepts based in the previous chapter, such as ideas of survival and the ideas of good conquering evil in this like a Western society idea. But then she says that this book is more about collaboration in and how that leads to survival. And then she moves on to say that collaboration means working across differences between people, which leads to contamination, which is the next concept she works with throughout this chapter. And then she begins explaining in a bit of detail the context of her ethnography, the Oregon forest, then explaining some of the histories of the two main ethnic groups in this vicinity. And then she says that she then starts talking about the impact of contaminated diversity and how we study it. So this is quite an ethnographic, anthropological concept, the idea of how do we look at communities who have contaminated diversity, so lots of different things that have created their diverse ethnicities and cultures. So she says that worse yet, contaminated diversity is a restraint to the kind of summing up that has become the hallmark to modern knowledge. So she's saying that contaminated diversity is it doesn't really fit into the normal paradigm of understanding things. It's not only contaminated diversity is not only particular and historical, ever-changing, but also relational in that it relates to different things. Maybe the place it is, I'm not too sure on the word relational, but hopefully you get the idea. So it also has no self-contained units, meaning it doesn't have a complete independent unit. So without complete independent units, it is impossible to compute the costs and benefits or functionality to anyone, in quotation marks, involved. So no self-contained individuals or groups to assure their self-interest interests means that scholars and policymakers might have to learn a bit more about the culture and the natural histories at stake. So this is saying that in order to understand these what are they called? In order to understand these cultures, these contaminated cultures, or whatever she's been calling them, in order to understand these, we have to have what she says is a rush of troubled stories as the best way to tell about contaminated diversity. So she's saying we need to look into things like war survivors themselves, and need to tell until the stories of death and near death and gratuitous life are standing with us to face the challenges of the present. So I really think that what she's saying is in order to face the present, we need to understand the diverse nature of the past and look at all facets. And she says it is listening to that cacophony of troubled stories that we might encounter our best hopes for precarious survival. And then she says that this book tells such stories. So now leading on into the next chapter. So I hope this quicker summary was a bit better, and I think that I actually enjoyed it a bit more. It was much more off the cuff. It was much everything came together for me there. So hopefully people watch this one a bit more. And thank you for for watching. I'll see you for the next chapter.